Van Dyke is celebrating his 100th birthday. The Emmy, Grammy, and Tony Award winner was born in West Plains, Missouri, and grew up in Danville, Illinois.
Dick Van Dyke, the legendary actor and beloved icon, has spent decades making people laugh and smile. From Mary Poppins to countless TV shows, his career has touched generations. But now, he is opening up about why he feels it's time for something to end. Fans everywhere are curious. What is he really talking about? Is it his career, his public appearances, or something personal? Why now, after all these years, does he feel this way? Join us as we dive into the real reason Dick Van Dyke wants it to end. What could it be? Could this change everything? Let's find out. A gentle joy at nearly 100. Legendary actor and comedian Dick Van Dyke shows a calm and cheerful attitude toward growing older as he approaches an extraordinary milestone. With his 100th birthday coming on December 13th, he remains open, thoughtful, and lighthearted about age, life, and what lies ahead. At 99 years old, he speaks with honesty and warmth about time passing, without fear and without regret. Dick Van Dyke has shared that he does not struggle with the idea of getting older. Even as he clearly understands that the end of life is closer than it once was, he does not feel afraid of death. He accepts it as a natural part of living. In his view, when life ends, it simply ends. This understanding brings him peace rather than worry. He admits that he cannot fully explain why he feels no fear, but he believes it may be because his life has been full, exciting, and deeply satisfying. Looking back, he feels grateful instead of burdened. From his perspective, he has nothing to complain about. A major source of joy in his life is his wife, Arlene Silver. She is 54 years old, and the two were married in 2012. Dick Van Dyke credits her with helping him stay present and engaged with life. He believes she plays a powerful role in keeping his spirit young. According to him, she brings happiness into every day and fills his life with light. Her energy encourages him to sing and dance, reminding him of the joy of movement and music. She also takes on many responsibilities with grace, which he deeply appreciates. He feels fortunate to share his life with someone who brings such consistent happiness and support. As his milestone birthday draws closer, Dick Van Dyke continues to rely on humor, a quality that has defined much of his career. When speaking about reaching 100 years of age, he approaches the moment with playful honesty. He expresses hope that he will reach the day, showing both realism and humor at the same time. Despite his age, he says he feels surprisingly good. In fact, he jokes that he feels more like a young teenager than someone nearing 100. This sense of youthful energy, even if it comes and goes, helps shape his positive outlook. He explains that while his energy levels can change from day to day, his mood remains steady. He shares that he never wakes up feeling unhappy or negative. This emotional consistency has been an important part of his life. His ability to begin each day with a good attitude has supported his long journey, both personally and professionally. Dick Van Dyke believes that optimism has played a major role in keeping him going over the years. He describes his outlook as seeing life with a glass-half-full perspective. This way of thinking has helped him face challenges without becoming overwhelmed. When people ask him what he did right in life, he responds with humility. He does not claim to have followed strict rules or intense discipline. In fact, he describes himself as rather lazy. Yet, his emotional habits tell a deeper story. One of the strongest beliefs he holds is about the harm caused by anger and hate. He feels that these emotions can damage a person from the inside. Throughout his life, he has avoided holding on to hatred. He explains that he never truly learned how to hate in an intense or consuming way. This emotional restraint, he believes, has protected his inner peace and health. He considers this one of the most important reasons he has been able to continue living with joy and balance. He acknowledges that he is human and has experienced dislike and disapproval towards certain people and situations. He does not deny that there were moments of frustration or disagreement. However, he made a conscious effort not to let those feelings turn into deep anger or lasting hate. He explains that while he noticed flaws and problems, he never allowed them to grow into intense emotional bitterness. This belief was shaped, in part, by observing his father, Dick Van Dyke. His father was often troubled and upset by the state of his life and the world around him. That constant distress, Dick Van Dyke believes, had serious consequences. His father passed away at 73 years old, and this left a strong impression on him. From that experience, he learned the importance of emotional balance and the danger of carrying too much anger. Dick Van Dyke has reflected on his life in a new book titled 100 Rules for Living to 100. In this book, he shares lessons drawn from his own experiences. Each rule is connected to a meaningful moment in his life. These memories stayed with him because they carried emotional importance and helped shape who he became. He believes that these experiences were not random, but meaningful, offering guidance that could be shared with others. When considering how he would like to be remembered, Dick Van Dyke speaks with humility. He does not focus on personal recognition or fame. Instead, he points to the work he left behind, especially in children's entertainment and music. He considers this his true legacy. The joy he helped create for children through songs and performances matters more to him than his name being remembered. Music, in particular, holds special importance in his view of legacy. He believes that the songs created for children carry lasting joy and meaning. As long as children continue to sing playful and imaginative songs from his work, a part of him remains alive. The happiness and laughter shared through music are, to him, the most valuable contributions he has made. In a recent reflective first-person essay, Dick Van Dyke also spoke honestly about the physical challenges he now faces. He shared that his eyesight has become very poor, making daily life more difficult. Hearing loss has also become a regular frustration. He explains that following group conversations is now challenging, and he often feels annoyed by the limitations of hearing aids. These changes remind him daily of the realities of aging. He also admitted that simple tasks are no longer easy for him. Activities that once required little thought now demand more effort and patience. Despite these difficulties, he continues to face each day with acceptance rather than bitterness. His openness about these struggles adds depth to his message about aging, showing that positivity does not mean denying hardship, but choosing how to respond to it. A long, bright life built on better choices. Dick Van Dyke is widely known as a cheerful and wholesome Disney legend, admired by many generations for his clean image, warm humor, and endless energy. Over the years, people have often wondered how he has managed to stay so lively, sharp, and active well into very old age. According to Van Dyke himself, the answer is not mysterious or magical. It comes from major life changes he made long ago, especially giving up habits that once held him back. Those choices, he believes, helped give him a long and strong life. The beloved Mary Poppins star is approaching an incredible milestone. He turns 100 years old on December 13th. Even as he reaches this rare age, he continues to appear energetic and engaged with life. Van Dyke has openly shared that his decision to let go of alcohol, cigarettes, and other harmful habits played a big role in allowing him to keep going. He feels that removing those things from his life helped his body recover and gave him the chance to enjoy many more years. At a recent Vandy High Tea event held at his home in Malibu, California, Van Dyke spoke honestly about his past. He explained that he once drank alcohol and smoked cigarettes, and that these habits were a real part of his life for many years. Looking back, he believes that choosing to stop was one of the most important decisions he ever made. He feels that these changes may be the reason he is still alive and active today. Van Dyke admitted that he smoked heavily for a long time. It was not something he did lightly or occasionally. It took him many years to fully understand how deeply these habits had taken hold of him. He explained that it was not until he was already in his 50s that he truly realized he had an addictive personality. Once he liked something, he tended to do it too much. That pattern applied to smoking and drinking, just as it did to other things in his life. During the same event, Van Dyke reflected on his memories of meeting Walt Disney in the early 1960s. He remembered Disney as a kind and wonderful man who made a huge impact on entertainment and animation. However, Van Dyke also noted that Disney smoked heavily. Walt Disney later passed away in 1966 at the age of 65 from lung cancer. This memory stayed with Van Dyke and served as a powerful reminder of how dangerous smoking could be, even for someone brilliant and successful. Van Dyke has also spoken in the past about why he chooses to be open about his struggles with alcohol. He believes that sharing his experiences can help others who may be dealing with similar challenges. He has known many people who were unable to break free from alcohol and watched how it affected their lives. Because of this, he felt it was important to speak honestly rather than hide his past. He explained that his drinking began in a way that felt harmless. In his 30s, he did not drink at all. Later, he moved into a neighborhood where social gatherings were common, with parties happening every Saturday. Wanting to fit in and be social, he started drinking along with everyone else. At first, it seemed casual and normal. However, before he realized it, alcohol had become something he depended on. The change happened so gradually that it shocked him when he finally saw it clearly. The same pattern appeared with smoking. What began as a habit he shared with others slowly grew into something much stronger. Van Dyke was surprised by how quickly he became attached to it. He did not expect it to happen, and that made it even more difficult to face. Over time, he came to understand that addiction does not always arrive loudly or suddenly. Often, it sneaks in quietly. Van Dyke has explained that he only drank in social situations. He never drank while working and never drank before going on set. From the outside, it might have seemed controlled. However, even with those limits, alcohol still had a negative effect on his life. When work ended and the cameras were off, the impact became clear. His mood changed, and he no longer liked the person he was becoming. He noticed a shift in his behavior over time. What started as relaxed and cheerful drinking slowly turned into something darker. He became irritable and unhappy. He found himself feeling tense and short-tempered, and that bothered him deeply. He did not want to live that way or treat people that way. Recognizing this change was painful, but it pushed him toward the decision to stop. While giving up alcohol was difficult, Van Dyke admitted that quitting smoking was even harder. In fact, he found it to be twice as challenging. Letting go of cigarettes took a very long time and required constant effort. It did not happen quickly, and it was not easy. Still, he kept trying until he finally succeeded. Looking back, he feels proud of himself for not giving up, even when it felt endless. As Van Dyke approached his 100th birthday, he shared more thoughts about aging in an essay written for The Times in the United Kingdom. In that piece, he explained that staying physically active has been a key part of maintaining his strength and mental clarity. Movement, in his view, is essential, It keeps his body flexible and his mind alert. Exercise also allows him to continue doing something he loves deeply, which is dancing. Dance has always been a joyful part of his life, and it still brings him happiness today. To support this, he tries to go to the gym 3 times a week. Even now, regular exercise remains a priority for him, and he listens carefully to what his body needs. Van Dyke shared that he is not the type of person who wakes up and immediately wants to return to bed. He still feels motivated to get up and move, especially when the weather is pleasant. On cold and rainy days, he may feel a little less eager, but overall, he remains active. He has learned that when he misses too many gym sessions, his body lets him know. If he skips exercise for too long, he begins to feel stiff in different places. That stiffness serves as a warning sign. He knows that if he allows it to take over, it becomes much harder to reverse. Staying active helps prevent that discomfort from settling in and allows him to keep enjoying daily life. Through his honesty and reflection, Dick Van Dyke offers a gentle lesson about the power of change. His long life is not something he takes for granted. He believes it is closely connected to the choices he made to care for himself, to let go of harmful habits, and to stay moving both physically and mentally. His story is not about perfection, but about awareness, effort, and kindness toward oneself. A joyful routine of movement. He follows a steady and thoughtful routine at the gym, one that keeps his body active and his spirit light. His exercise plan is built around a circuit system. This means he moves from one machine to the next in a smooth circle, without stopping to rest in between. This steady flow keeps his energy up and helps his whole body stay engaged. He begins every session with the sit-up machine. This starting point helps strengthen his core and sets the tone for the rest of his workout. His wife, Arlene, often says he could do 500 sit-ups, though even he admits that number may be a little exaggerated. Still, the comment reflects how dedicated and capable he remains. After the sit-up machine, he moves carefully and faithfully through all the leg machines. He does not skip them or rush through them. He treats these exercises with great respect because his legs matter deeply to him. He considers them 2 of his most treasured possessions. Strong legs help him stay independent, active, and confident. They allow him to keep moving through life with ease and joy. Once he finishes working on his legs, he shifts his focus to his upper body. This balanced routine ensures that no part of his body is neglected. Each machine plays a role in keeping him healthy and strong. Exercise, however, is not just about machines and muscles for him. Music plays a powerful and joyful role in his workouts. He believes music is the secret ingredient that makes everything come alive. Most of his humming and singing happens while he moves from one machine to another. This movement is not just walking. He dances as he goes. He truly dances, letting the rhythm guide his steps. On days when he feels especially energized, he does not hold back. He sings loudly and proudly, filling the space with sound. His voice becomes strong and expressive, more like a Broadway performer than a quiet singer. This mix of movement, music, and joy turns exercise into something playful and uplifting, rather than tiring or dull. While physical activity keeps his body in motion, love plays an even greater role in keeping his heart young. He met Arlene in the year 2006. From the start, she quickly became his soulmate and the love of his life. Their connection brought a deep sense of happiness and purpose into his world. Arlene is 54 years old, and her presence has had a powerful effect on his outlook and energy. Their relationship is not just important to him. It is central to his sense of joy and fulfillment. He believes that their ongoing romance is the main reason he has not become withdrawn or grumpy with age. Love has kept him open, warm, and engaged with life. Arlene is half his age, yet she has a remarkable ability to make him feel much younger than he is. She makes him feel somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of his actual age. Even that, he acknowledges, is still a meaningful difference. Her influence touches every part of his daily life. Each day, she finds new ways to keep him active, alert, and hopeful. She helps him feel needed and appreciated, which adds a deep sense of meaning to his days. When he reflects on what has truly kept his life joyful and fulfilling, the answer feels simple to him. Romance plays a major role. Doing what he loves also matters greatly. Laughter, in large amounts, ties everything together. These elements are not complicated or grand. They are everyday experiences that build happiness over time. Together, they form the foundation of a life that continues to feel rich and rewarding. These values show clearly in his daily life at home. When he starts to drift into the role of a grumpy older man sitting in front of the television, Arlene steps in with playful energy. She dances along to pharmaceutical advertisements, turning something ordinary into something fun. Her dancing pulls him out of bed and leads him toward the kitchen. This simple act brings movement and laughter into the start of the day. It shows how small moments can create connection and joy. Music continues to play a role at home as well. Almost without planning it, one of them will begin singing. The other soon joins in. This shared singing becomes a natural part of their day. On good days, which are nearly every day in their home, the music leads to gentle movement. They sway together and add a bit of soft shoe dancing right where they stand. These moments are not performances. They are expressions of comfort, happiness, and shared rhythm. Looking toward the future, he offers advice about aging that is clear and surprisingly simple. He believes people should not be afraid to laugh at themselves. Humor, in his view, has the power to shine through even the hardest parts of growing older. Aging brings changes, mistakes, and unexpected challenges. Facing these moments with laughter makes them easier to accept and move past. As he has grown older, he has come to see life more and more as a comedy of errors. Things do not always go as planned. Small mishaps and misunderstandings happen often. Instead of feeling frustrated or discouraged, he chooses to see the humor in these situations. This perspective helps him stay lighthearted and resilient. He believes that people who cannot laugh at themselves may struggle more than they need to. Humor becomes a tool for coping, connecting, and staying emotionally healthy. His life shows how movement, music, love, and laughter can work together to support both body and spirit. His gym routine keeps him physically strong. Music turns exercise into joy. Love gives his days meaning and warmth. Laughter helps him face aging with grace and ease. None of these elements stand alone. They blend into a daily life that feels active, connected, and full of light. Through simple habits and a positive outlook, he continues to embrace each day with energy and appreciation. His approach does not rely on complicated rules or extreme measures. Instead, it grows from consistency, affection, and a willingness to enjoy the moment. By staying active, staying in love, and staying ready to laugh, he shows that aging can be a time of continued joy rather than decline. A life of hard work, joyful art, and a gentle legacy. Dick Van Dyke has built a career filled with unforgettable films and television shows that have reached people of all ages and stayed close to their hearts for many years. His work in Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and The Dick Van Dyke Show brought laughter, music, and warmth into homes around the world. These projects did not just entertain for a short time. They became part of family memories, passed from parents to children, and then to grandchildren. Even with all this success, when Van Dyke looks back at his early life, he speaks honestly about how hard those years truly were, especially when it came to caring for his family while trying to build a career. In the early days of his professional life, Van Dyke faced serious challenges. He was raising a family at a time when money was scarce, and every day was focused on survival and progress. His main goal was simple but heavy with pressure: to earn enough money to support his loved ones and to create a stable home. This period was not filled with comfort or ease. Instead, it was marked by constant effort, long hours, and the stress that comes from trying to escape poverty. He worked tirelessly to bring his dreams closer while making sure his family had what they needed. Van Dyke had 4 children with his former wife, Margie Willett. Margie passed away in the year 2008, but during their life together, they shared the responsibilities and struggles of building a family while facing financial hardship. In those early years, Van Dyke took on any work he could find. He did not limit himself to one type of job or performance. He appeared on game shows, performed in nightclubs, and accepted every opportunity that could bring in income. Each role, no matter how small or exhausting, was part of his larger plan to move forward. One of the important steps he took during this time was buying a home using the GI Bill. This was a major milestone for him and his family. Owning a home meant stability and hope, but it did not end the struggle. Even after achieving that goal, the work never slowed down. In fact, his schedule became even more demanding. At one point, he was hosting a disc jockey show early in the morning, starting his day when most people were still asleep. Then, at night, he would perform in nightclubs with a partner. His days were long, and his rest was short. Sleep was a rare luxury during those years. Van Dyke often survived on only a few hours of rest between jobs. This level of effort was not easy on his body or his mind. But he pushed through because he believed in what he was building. When he reflects on that time now, the strongest memory he carries is not exhaustion or frustration, but the intense dedication he had to making his career work. He was determined to gain a foothold in the entertainment world, and he gave everything he had to reach that goal. Once he finally found his place and achieved stability, his experience changed completely. After the hardest part of his journey was behind him, he found true joy in his work. From that point on, he enjoyed every moment of his career. The long nights and early mornings became a foundation for a life filled with creative freedom and happiness. His love for performing never faded, and his appreciation for his work only grew stronger with time. Still, Van Dyke does not ignore the impact those demanding years had on his family. He openly acknowledges that his intense work schedule may have caused moments of neglect. His focus on escaping financial hardship meant that his attention was often divided. He understands that his children and family may not have received as much of his time as they deserved during certain periods. However, he also shares that he has never received complaints from them. This suggests a quiet understanding and forgiveness within his family, and perhaps a shared recognition of how necessary that hard work was. Van Dyke often reflects on how rare his career path truly is. He feels deep gratitude for being able to earn a living doing something he truly loves. While many people spend their days working in offices or jobs that do not bring them joy, he wakes up each morning excited to go to work. His passion for performing is so strong that he believes he would have done it even without pay. This sense of purpose and enjoyment has shaped his outlook on life, and helped him remain positive and grateful. Another important part of Van Dyke's life is his relationship with his wife, Arlene Silver. Arlene, who is 54 years old, married Van Dyke in the year 2012. He credits her with helping him stay connected to his youthful spirit. She plays a powerful role in keeping him present and joyful in everyday life. Her energy, happiness, and sense of responsibility inspire him, and he feels deeply thankful to share his life with her. Arlene brings music and movement into his daily routine. She encourages him to sing and dance, helping him stay active and engaged with the things he loves most. Van Dyke speaks about her with great appreciation, describing her as a constant source of joy. Her presence adds lightness and happiness to his days, and he considers himself very lucky to have her by his side. In his new book, Van Dyke looks back on his long life and remarkable career. He shares not only the events that shaped him, but also the wisdom he has gained through years of experience. The book reflects his thoughtful approach to life and his appreciation for meaningful work. It also reveals how he views his own legacy and what he hopes people will remember most about him. For Van Dyke, personal recognition is not the most important thing. Instead, he believes his true legacy lies in the children's entertainment and music he helped create. He takes pride in knowing that his work continues to bring happiness to young audiences. The songs and performances he shared with the world live on through the voices of children who sing them with joy and excitement. He feels that as long as children continue to sing and celebrate the music from his films, a part of him will always remain alive. The joy found in words like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and songs like Chim Chim Chair E represent something timeless and pure. This lasting connection with children and families matters more to him than being personally remembered. What do you think about Dick Van Dyke's life? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before you go, be sure to click on the video shown on your screen.